Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Parenting Tools podcast. I am Jordan.
And my name is Jason. This is the podcast where myself and Jordan, the Parenting Tools, talk about our life as dads, as parents. That's it.
Boom.
There we go. Nice and simple.
Sweet, I'm so tired. Sweet, I'm so tired. You treat me this way. I'm sick and then I'm...
Jason, I'm going to start the episode with some opening questions.
Oh, come on.
Every
That's
now and
always
again.
good.
Every now and again we do it.
Always good when we get the opening questions at the opening.
Every now and again we open with the opening questions. So, friend of the pod, Andy, and serial opening question asker. He sends us a lot of opening questions. And every now and again we'll use them. And I'm going to use all 5.
All 5.
So this is going to be quick fire for you.
I'm
Question
ready.
number 1. Do you believe in the 5-second rule when something falls on the floor? Same rule for your kids.
Yes.
Boom. Question number 2. If you had to name your kid, but using one of the reindeer's names, which one would you have used?
Remind me of the reindeer names. I don't know them.
Rudolph.
That's the only one I know. Prancer, Dancer,
Comet.
Comet.
Blitzen. Dasher. Have you said Dasher?
No.
Prancer?
Dasher's all right. Dasher.
Vixen?
Vixen.
I don't know what we've said and what we haven't.
I don't know the reindeer names.
Comet is pretty cool.
Comet's pretty cool.
Yeah, you could have a boy Comet and a little girl Prancer.
There you go.
Next question, we've already answered. Can you name all the reindeers?
No.
No. We could name them. Give them new names.
Reindeer 1.
Genevieve.
Genevieve.
Next question. What is the difference between a toad and a frog? Andy,
I don't know.
Your
What is
mind.
Is there a difference? Toads are bigger.
Toads are bigger.
Yeah, that's it.
You have to let us know,
Frogs
Andy.
live in water or near water.
The toads not?
I don't know.
Don't know. But you have to let us know on that, Andy, what the actual difference is. And the last one's actually quite a good parenting question. What was your checklist when your baby cried? Turns out they don't tell you what is wrong. Checklist.
As in the routine that you go through. What's
Yeah.
wrong? Honestly, I can't remember now.
Nappy. I think it was bottle for us. Nappy, burp.
Yeah.
And I think that's about the 3 you cover.
And you just keep repeating them.
Yeah.
And for our experience, none of them worked.
Mm.
You just keep going through the list.
Yeah. At the minute, if our little girl cries, she's not a baby anymore, but we just start to sing Wind the Bobbin Up.
Distraction.
Works a treat.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
At the moment, for us, we are hitting frequently over tiredness.
Yeah.
Over tiredness, and she's learning that she doesn't get her own way. And that sets her off.
So what's the go-to solution?
When she hasn't got her own way, it's ignore it.
Burper. Get off me.
Got some milk.
Stop tapping my back.
No, we're trying to teach her that she just when she can't get her own way, crying's not going to help. So that's we're just going for the ignore tactic, or just not acknowledging that she's throwing a fit.
Mm.
And when she's overtired, you just got to plow through.
Yeah.
You just get to bed as soon as possible.
So yeah, that works for us at the minute. Wind the bobbin up.
That's a good one.
We've also had some TikTok comments about the clip we posted about toddlers and food, and you said about
Remind me.
About Noah wanting bread roll toast,
Bread roll toast.
and how all of a sudden she doesn't like bread roll toast.
Yes.
And I said that my little boy loves the pasta, the mascarpone from Aldi.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Aldi. One day he didn't love it.
Big news before we jump in. The bread roll toast is back in.
Is it?
Yeah, back in.
Well, we've had a comment from ADS Pungy. Or is that ADS Pongy? I don't know. But it spells spongy. So it could be ADS Pongy or AD Spongy. Who knows? But he said bread roll toast will forever be better than normal toast for me.
Really?
There you go.
Really?
You've got another.
I'm intrigued by this because sandwiches, as podcast listeners will know, one of my favourite foods. Bread roll toast. It's not on the top 3.
No. I like a bread roll.
Bread roll's designed to be a bread roll.
Here's a question. What do you call like a bacon sandwich in a bread roll?
A bacon sandwich, bacon roll.
A bacon roll. You go for a roll.
What do you go? Cob?
People say cob, don't they?
Some people do.
I think some people call it a cake, a bread cake.
Yeah, no, not a fan of that.
There's going to be some Northerners listening to this
Yeah.
saying it's a roll. I don't know. You're from Sheffield. Well, you live in Sheffield.
I've heard all three using the
Have
same
you?
day.
The worst thing is because I say roll, bacon roll, sausage roll. But if you go to Greg's and ask for a sausage roll, you'll get a sausage roll, not a sausage roll.
So for the international listeners,
Yeah.
I think like the sausage roll is a British cuisine, quite famous.
Yep.
It is different to to a sausage in a bread roll.
Yeah. How do you describe a sausage roll?
Sausage wrapped with pastry.
Is it fried? No,
Baked.
baked.
It's baked, but it's pastry, isn't it?
It's pretty greasy. It's
I'm
not a
not-
proper sausage either,
I'm not
is
a fan
it?
of sausage rolls.
No, not me. I'll eat a sausage roll all day, but not a sausage roll. And then I have to order. You have to make the difference. You have to say sausage cob or something different, so you don't get a sausage roll when you want a sausage roll. Someone else, so Jill on TikTok said, "Yep, been going through this for the past year. I waste so much food with him."
Yeah, that is a struggle. That is a struggle. And because, like, especially when they're at the age where you can't just say, well, you're not leaving until you eat it.
Yeah.
'Cause especially when, like, the toddlers, they don't know, do they?
No.
A lot of wasted food.
And the last comment I picked out is from this person's not got a name, but their username is just the melting face emoji.
That's how I feel a lot of the time.
They said, "I remember when my little one wanted pasta and noodles together. Nothing else, just those two items together."
Did you know noodles are a type of pasta?
Are they?
Yeah. So is rice.
No.
Mm-hmm.
The Italians are raging right now, listening to this.
Yeah, both classes are a type of pasta.
Wow. There you go. There's some knowledge. There's some trivia
There
for
we
you.
go. That's what people come to the podcast for.
Yep. For the cuisine-based trivia.
I actually don't even know if that's true. I know, noodles are a type of pasta.
Yeah.
Even the rice-based noodles are a type of pasta. But I don't know if rice is pasta as well.
Rice can't be pasta.
Because couscous, what's that?
It's not pasta.
It's a type of pasta.
No,
It's not rice, though, is it, either?
No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that at all. And this is not the way I expected this to go. And the last comment comes from Ellie on Instagram. If you want to send us a DM on Instagram, please do, at Parenting Tools Pod. Or if you want to send us an email, parentingtoolspod@gmail.com. Ellie said this. Excuse me, I've still got this cough.
Did she cough in the note as well?
Yeah. Starts off with clears throat. Says, "Not sure if this counts as a first time story, but I have an extremely vivid memory of my first time alone with my son." I'm going to say that's first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure if this is a first time story, but the second time said it was in hospital. He'd been in the NICU and I didn't
NICU.
Yeah. I told you you'd like this story. And I didn't have him with me until he was a few days old. It was all going well until it wasn't. COVID meant that my husband could only visit for an hour. And as he left, it suddenly dawned on me that I was with him alone. As nighttime approached, and he'd been crying consistently for 4 hours, I decided to throw in the towel and buzz for one of the nurses. She asked me if everything was all right, and I replied, "Yeah, fine, but I'm ready for him to go to the nursery for a bit." She looked at me puzzled before explaining that there was no nursery. It turns out life isn't like American movies, and you don't get a break from your children in hospital. The realisation.
It is a huge thing, isn't it? That moment where, and it's usually after you've had kids, where you go, we've got them 24/7.
There's no nursery.
It hits you hard as well.
Mm.
I remember vividly with that feeling of going, I can't just leave. I can't just go to the cinema. Can't just go to the shop.
I'm all right with all that kind of stuff.
I am now.
But I was before. It's like, you know you're having a baby. Well, for me anyway, things are going to be different.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned before, I had young nephews, kind of had an insight into what life would be like. But it is the relentlessness of it. Like recently, I said last week that we'd been ill. When you need to sleep and you can't because your kids are also ill and they're not sleeping, that's the stuff that is just like, just not being able to sleep when you're ill. Like, you know you're going to be up all night with them sometimes,
Yeah.
but you don't think, actually, when I have a cold or when I have the flu or whatever, am I going to be able to recover properly? Like, you don't think that.
But how good would it be if it was just like, just
Be great.
need a break now. Tap them in.
Yeah, so thank you, Ellie, for that message, and thank you for everyone's comments, and of course, Andy, serial question asker.
Do you know what? Listeners won't know this, or some of them might, but Andy is phenomenal at Christmas jokes.
He is.
It's great. I'm going to see if I can steal a few for next episode. Because
That's
when
a-
this airs,
that's a
this
good
will be 2 weeks before Christmas.
This episode is coming out the week before Christmas.
The week before Christmas.
So yeah, as this comes out, it is Christmas next Sunday.
I would like to know the level of stress that the listeners are going through. Have you got all your presents? Have you still got them all waiting in your Amazon basket?
It's a stressful time.
The crunch is coming.
Well, that brings us on nicely to the next section. So we did our letters to Santa this week. So our kids, well, our little boy, because our little girl can't speak yet really, said what he'd like. Of course, it was just Buzz Lightyear things.
Yeah.
And my wife printed out pictures, and it was, dear Santa, looking forward to Christmas, I would like, and it was pictures of the things, and I will do good listening and all this kind of stuff. And then on my daughter's one, it was, this is what I'd like, I'm going to try really hard not to touch the Christmas tree. Because she is just pulling stuff off it. She'll just appear with, like, they're not baubles, but like, I call them trinkets. Don't know what they are.
Trinkets is a good...
Just things that hang on the tree. She'll
Yeah.
just appear with them in her hand, or you look over to the tree and there's just a pile of things on the floor.
That's really cute.
But then our 3-year-old thinks that's okay.
Yeah.
So he now is taking things off the tree. The trinkets are being removed. So yeah, a bit of a challenging one.
I quite liked that, having the letters of Santa including some sort of
Yeah.
sort of trade-off.
It was nice. It was nice. And then we saw the big man. We saw him
In the flesh.
We saw him yesterday. What day is it? Yep, we saw him yesterday. And little girl cried.
I saw your post on Instagram.
Yeah.
Just for reference, your son looked quite happy.
He was fine.
Sat next to Santa.
Reminding him of
the
all
next photo.
Yeah. We'd just woken her up though from a nap.
Ah, fair.
In fairness, I'd have cried as well.
It's quite scary though as well.
Well, yeah, yeah. I suppose.
For the eyes of a toddler, being handed to this guy in a red suit with a massive beard.
Being woken up from a nap,
Yeah.
sat next to this guy, and just like being told to say cheese.
So I don't know if have I mentioned before about the dummy fairies?
No, but I can imagine where this is going.
So my daughter still uses dummies. She's 2.5 years old. She uses it only at night time, but she relies on it to get to sleep at the moment. And so a few months ago, we devised a plan to say goodbye to the dummies forever.
Yep.
I've heard that it's much easier if you've got 2 for the second one, because they see the old one not using dummies. They just get rid of it.
Yeah.
And also if you get rid of them before a certain age. So our plan currently is, this is a pre-Christmas. She has to put all her dummies, she's only got 1 left, all her dummies
100% of your dummies.
into a little Christmas box near
Nice.
the fireplace. And as she goes to sleep, the dummy fairies will take the dummy and turn it into a toy.
A pet dog.
I love a pet dog.
Is that on Christmas morning or is that
this
Christmas Eve?
This is like next week.
Really?
So for the listeners, this is 2 weeks before Christmas.
Yep. So we're like quarter of a way through December.
Yeah, and so we've planned it so we're not travelling anywhere for the first week. The routine is still exactly the same. Nothing is out of order, because at Christmas we're travelling, seeing family, and don't want to introduce it then ruin everyone's Christmas. And so we're attempting it to go dummy free, and the advice I've heard for going dummy free with a toddler is described as just you have to go cold turkey.
Yep.
I get a little bit worried when this language used to get rid of dummies is the same that you'd use for drug addicts.
Didn't even think about that. Especially at Christmas, no one wants cold turkey. Whee! So what's the plan then? Are you going to get rid of them? Are they going,
So we
or
only
are
have
you
one.
hiding them?
No, we only have one. Our plan is, once we've decided to do it, it's gone. We're not saving it to whip out in an emergency.
You are launching it.
It is gone.
Yeah.
It is gone. And because I feel like if we don't do that, it will be worse.
Yeah.
So if we say we're taking it away and then we've actually got it hidden and we bring it out if we're desperate, we're literally preparing ourselves for like sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Just to say goodbye. And she'll fall asleep. She'll be shattered. And she does sleep sometimes without it. So it's just more the attachment that she has to it.
Is the toy going to be like a nighttime toy that she can take to bed with her?
No. It's like
a book.
It's more along the lines of like her main Christmas present.
Right, okay.
She doesn't fully understand Christmas at the moment. So it's quite a big toy. It's like a playhouse thing.
Yep.
And she really wants it. Or she's seen it like on TV and like she's seen it in the shops and she likes it. So we'll get that. It's a big enough toy. The also comment to her is that if she wants a dummy back, you have to say goodbye to the toy because they have to turn it back.
Yeah.
And they can't reverse the. We have fully gone into this lie. I feel quite uncomfortable about it.
Yeah.
I wonder how much damage it's going to do.
Have you seen Santa? Have you been to see Santa?
No, we've not done Santa. We've not really told her anything about Santa yet. She doesn't seem that bothered.
Yeah.
She's not really that aware. I mean, she knows the dummy fairies now.
Because we did, when we were talking to Santa, we were like, and you're going to be a good boy, aren't you? You're going to listen to Mummy and Daddy. And Santa was like, oh, yes. Like, he proper played along. So you must listen to Mummy and Daddy, and I'll bring you presents.
Yeah, she doesn't quite. So we're hoping that she understands the concept with this little dummy thing. But Christmas is just, we've not really. She knows she's getting presents for Christmas.
Yeah.
And we're seeing family, but she doesn't know anything else more than that.
We played the Santa card in like July.
Really?
Yeah. It's a year-round thing. There's this app, and this is actually this is a bit of a top tool. Top tool.
I
Yeah.
I only caught the back end.
We finished strong. There's a Santa app, and you can put in your kid's name.
Oh, I think I've seen this.
And like it will ring.
Yeah.
You go, oh, hello. Is that Jason?
Oh, it's a phone call.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you can type in, or you can select why you're getting a call.
No way.
And so it's like good things. You're going to bed well, you're brushing your teeth well, but Mummy and Daddy would like you to, be better at whatever. And it worked a treat because he was getting out of his bed. So we got Santa. This was a weekend away with some friends. He just wanted to see what was going on. So got Santa to call, say, oh, remember, you need to stay in your bed. Stayed in the bed. Albeit crying because Santa knew what the crack was. But it's around this time of year that parents with toddlers get nervous walking past people with a white beard.
Especially if they're slightly rotund.
Rotund. We went on a walk with my in-laws, I think like March time, and this guy wearing a red fleece and had a white beard walked past, and my little boy, his eyes lit up. He just kind of followed, and I was just thinking, don't say it.
I've always wondered if this happens.
Please, it happens. It happens. Yeah, it happens. So, fortunately, he said it quite quietly. He was like, Santa? He didn't shout it, but yeah, you've heard, you hear stories of people that. So yeah.
Surely, if you've got a white beard, you know to avoid the red clothing in the winter.
Well, yeah. To be fair to this chap, he was Asian, and you don't see too many Asian depictions of Santa. So maybe he's thinking, "There's enough difference there. I can go out wearing my usual red fleece." And it was March as well. It was. You think you're in the clear?
I think that shows how much Santa is at the forefront of your son's mind.
His eyes. Yeah, so that was fun, seeing Santa with the kids. And just a quick mention, we are going to be releasing some additional episodes, aren't we?
Bonus Christmas episodes.
Bonus Christmas episodes. So they'll be coming out Boxing Day and New Year's Day.
Wow.
And that's because lots of driving,
It's Christmas.
isn't there?
There's lots of driving. So the thing behind it is that, especially if you're like us, we've got lots of driving to do, seeing lots of family. I'm hoping most of that, my daughter to be asleep.
Yours won't. She's screaming for a dummy.
That's the plan anyway.
Just have a doll's house in the back of the car.
Are we hoping to do a Christmas quiz on one of those episodes?
We'll do something fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do something.
I mean, I'm terrible at every sort of quiz we've posed so far.
Frog or toad?
What's the difference? The spelling. It took me 20 minutes to think of that.
Did it? So we'll splice it in. We'll cut it in. So yeah, we'll do a Christmas quiz. We'll just put some stuff out to fill the gaps over Christmas.
I would also like some advice.
Oof.
What are people's strategies or plans for New Year's Eve?
It's a late night.
Do you treat it like a normal night, especially for the kids? Are you brave and going out? Are you just dealing with the consequences? What's the plan? What's the strategy? I'd like to know.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because it's a late night, isn't it?
It's hugely late night.
It's like without kids.
It's a late night without kids, but also kids don't understand. And when they get tired, they just moan.
Yeah. That is
And they
overtired
and they get
territory.
out of sorts. And it's not fun for them at that point.
Especially kids like our kids' age.
Yeah.
Like that's quite mean to keep them up till midnight.
Yeah.
And then everyone just start counting down.
They're going to wonder what's going on.
Especially my son, who's a big Buzz Lightyear fan. You do a countdown, he's going to be looking to the sky and everyone's just going, "Hey," singing "On Lang Syne." Where's the rockets, man? Should we get into this week's guest?
Yes, let's jump in.
Let's jump in.
Amazing, huge welcome to this week's guest, Shaun DJ Baxter. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, lads, you all right? How you doing?
We haven't got any sound effects, Shaun, so I had to make up my own.
No, I don't blame you. I'll start doing my own as well.
Good to have you, mate. How are things?
Things have been busy. We're currently in silly season at the minute in DJ land, so this is like between September all the way down to December. It's just been silly season. Obviously, we've had the World Cup as well, so I've been involved in that. So it's been rather manic, to say the least.
So you've just jumped ahead a little bit there, Shaun. You've just mentioned that you're a DJ.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do as a day-to-day.
So as a day-to-day, I'm a full-time DJ. I also do some contributing for my local BBC station as well. So I do that. DJ, mostly commercial. Recently got into more sort of sports presentations. So done the Commonwealth Games, done the World Cup. And I'm just generally there to bring the party, really. And also done stuff with young people as well. So there's a camp that we do up in Stafford called Relentless Festival. That's where I know you guys from. So it's been quite nice. So yeah, that's what I do in a nutshell.
Oh, amazing. So, Shaun, we usually ask our guests, who are you and what have you got? So what's your home setup like? Tell us about that.
So it's me, my lovely partner, Natalie. We've got one child called Keegan, my little ledge. And then, it sounds really cringy saying that, but he is. And then we just live in sort of Staffordshire, so in between Birmingham and Nottingham, really. So that's my setup.
Egan, that's a cool name.
Yeah.
Where did you get that from?
So I was doing research when it was all coming to that time. You're like, what's the name? What's the name? And at the time, Keegan was like the 13th least popular name or something like that. And also, because my name's Shaun, it's about Shaun. I really struggle when it goes to, you go to gift shops, or souvenir shops. It's always about SEAN. So I wanted to feel the same way that I felt, basically. But everyone goes, oh, it's Kevin Keegan. Oh, it's Kevin Keegan. Like, no. Or I've recently been given, is it Keegan from EastEnders? Like, who? But that's that.
I absolutely love that. I love that most people Google like popular boys' names. You've gone for least popular boy names.
It just flows as well because it's just quite a nice name. And as I say, it's just what I wanted because I thought, not many people have like people go, oh, I could name him John, I could name him David, but I thought Keegan's just not very popular. But also, it's just a nice name. To be fair, it flows nice. And he can be really shortened down to various different variations, so from Keegs to Keegster. There's a whole load of short names that we can call.
That's always a debate, isn't it? When you're thinking of names, of like all the possible nicknames and like unfortunate names that you could make up of your kids, isn't it?
It's all fun and games, but yeah. So I did that research, like proper, like hard researching. But luckily, Mrs. she was like, "Yep, I agree with that name and I like it." So I think if we ever do have a next one, I think she's got the choice of name. So fingers crossed, it's going to be a unique one or something similar.
I used to ruin and like rule out names for my wife. She'd go, "What about this?" And I'd just say, "Well, kids at school will call them this, this, this," and like kind of go down. What will people say if they're teasing them, or what does it rhyme with, and things like that. You've always got to think about these things.
You do, because as you say, you never know which situation, and also you just say it's just kids naming it. That's their name for life, and you got to say that constantly, maybe once, twice, 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 times. I could go up to 100 times a day. Depends how well they behave. So that's it really. That's the whole name behind Keegan.
Oh, amazing. How old is Keegan?
Keegan is 4.
We're not there yet, are we? Neither of us are at 4.
I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
How is it having a 4-year-old, Shaun?
Having a 4-year-old is great, but with Keegan, he's got autism, so it's great. But autism children are great, especially the unique, and they've got their own way of how they do things. So some stuff he's developing for, and some stuff he hasn't developed in. There's the popular term for it's called GDD, Global Development Delay. That's the official term for it. So. Yeah, it's challenging, but having a 4-year-old is great. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing.
When did you guys find out about the autism, and talk us a little bit about that kind of journey as well? I'm quite naive to the whole process.
So it all started. So remember, it was back in lockdown, so about 2018 times. Sorry, it's not 2018 times. You have to take that a bit out. It was in lockdown then. I'll just try again. But maybe must be flow for a change. So it all started when back in lockdown, really, when we was literally all stuck in our houses, we didn't know what to do, and obviously all the school groups are shut and taking kids to places. There just weren't many around, and then we got him into a mainstream school to start off with, and then we got told, "Oh, can we have a quick word?" Oh, it's just not. It was just brought to our attention from there, and then the ball started rolling. But to get into a specialist school, you have to have a thing called an EHCP. You guys thinking, what is EHCP stand for? That stands for Educational Health and Care Plan. So to get into a specialist setting, you need this, and we didn't have that at the time. So it's been a long 12 months, to be fair. It's only recently now we've got him into a specialist setting, and he's thriving and doing really well. But the whole process was there's forms, you got to prove what you're doing, you got to literally write letters and letters and letters. Then you got to see the doctors to them to back it up as well. Then you've got to it's quite a lot of form filling and going pillar to post from local authorities to the school. You've got to write a bit of how your child is developing every sort of quarter, so every 3 or 4 months. Yeah, it's not simple, but it's been a long road. But as I say, he's now into a proper specialist setting, and it's great.
Imagine that makes like a whole world of difference.
A massive difference. So in a normal school, it's like 3 teachers to X amount of staff. But with a specialist in his class, he's got 6 teachers to like 10 kids. So he's getting all that support constantly, and they're doing one-to-ones. They're doing a thing called speech and language therapy as well, because Keegan's non-verbal. So we have to communicate in a different way to him, but also he's picking up stuff as well. So yeah, it's very, very in-depth.
And how is that, Shaun, with kind of when he's learning how to communicate, it's difficult enough to know what kids are after when they do have good speech, when they're upset and they can't quite get their words out. What are the challenges that you've faced with that, and what are the things that you've done to kind of get used to the way that he communicates?
So from day dot, we've had a routine. So we've put him into a routine, and that's helped massively. But it's just in general the way we've sort of come about it is luckily there's a thing called Makaton around and PECS. So PECS stands for Picture Exchange Communication System. So we use that as well with Keegan, and also Makaton. You probably all know Mr. Tumble, our good friend.
Yeah,
he's the king of Makaton and the king of CBBS, and that's how. So he does various different signs from hello to thank you to all done, of lights I've learned, and all that stuff. So that's how we've sort of bridged the communication. But in general, yeah, it's just to say having a kid normally with like who can speak and do all this stuff is hard, but having a non-community, you forever second guessing yourself. So does he want this? But then over time, we sort of get used to things, and it's, as I say, it's come on massively since we've come out of lockdown and had the right support behind us. I hope that's answered the question.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible.
No, really does. And so when you get that call from school and they say, look, we think you might have autism, are you thinking, like, what are your thoughts as that call comes in and you're having that conversation?
The conversation was, when we first got it, was what do we do, how we're going to get support. Luckily, we've got a family friend who's dealt with sort of the situation before, and she's took us through all the steps how she does. She's helped us form fill, she's helped us write things, but also guide us as well. So we're sort of grateful for family and friends for doing it. But as I say, it's been a tough journey. I'm not going to lie. It's been a long 12 months it's taken us to get this from going from a mainstream school into a specialist school. Not only by chance, literally by the grace of God, we've got it. Literally, somebody was moving out of the school, and they said, can we come over to assess? So they came over to his mainstream school, assessed him, and then within about 2 or 3 weeks, he was in the specialist setting. So, yeah, it's been a tough road, but as I say, it's just one of those things you just got to adapt and adjust with as parents, as we all do as parents. We all have to adapt and adjust to how our child is.
I mean, I have to say, Shaun, like, as we've said, and as we all know, like, parenting is difficult enough, but just the way that you're like so bubbly and happily honestly amazes me. Like, I have days where it's hard enough just dealing with my toddler, but just imagining all the stuff and all the stress that you've been through, man, like, just props to you both, man. That's incredible. And yeah, I'm glad to hear that he's now like in the right place, getting the right support.
And it's just massive how we can see a change from now, like to 3 months. It's about 3 months now he's been there. Wow. So it's just a massive change from September to December where we've been now. It's been a massive change. You can see him growing, you can see him communicating. And every day we do like these picture cards and we say banana, apple, peppers and all that stuff. And he goes, banana. And he's slowly coming out. He's slowly getting there. But also he's reckoned quite a lot of signs as well. So when we go down the road, there's all these supermarket signs and he's pointing to them as well. So he's understanding more than he did before, because before he was on a half day doing like 9 till 11:45, and now he's doing a full day. So it's the first time in his like educational history that he's gone from doing like a full day, and it's just stuff like that, really.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, amazing. And what's he like when you're out and about, Shaun? And do you ever get like conscious that people maybe aren't aware that he's got autism, and they just think if he's maybe having a bit of a time of it, that child's a bit misbehaved? Do you ever get like self-conscious about things like that? Because I do. When my toddler's having a bit of a tantrum. We had a terrible one yesterday. It was awful. And I'm thinking, what are people thinking about me? Do you ever get that thing in your mind, that self-consciousness of people don't know that he's autistic?
Yes. When we first started out, going to the supermarket was hellish. It was horrible. There'd be tantrums. It's just because of the noise and the process, even the beeping of the tills and just the whole loud environment. But recently, touch everything. It's been great. He's adjusted to the sort of the climate. And the great thing with this school as well, they take him out to different settings. So they went bowling last week. So it was quite good because obviously that nice vibration, just the whole lights and sounds. So did that, and then so they went to go see Santa, but they did it outside in an outside setting instead of an indoor setting. So it was quite nice. They did it like in a field in the park. So when we are out and about, yes, it has been tough. It's not easy. Some days are great, some days are not. But I think, as I say, it's like stupid stuff that we would think, oh yeah, I wouldn't say stupid stuff. It's just more like the stuff that we wouldn't pick up on. My little one picks up on. So when we go to our local supermarket, there's a toilet and it's got the man, but it hasn't got the woman, and it's got the disabled sign. But he's throwing point and saying, "Where's the woman?" Like pointing saying, "Woman, like this sign's gone. This is out of habit." Because before, when he's been there, because he's got photographic memory as well, he's like, that sign was there before. So it's the little stuff. Wow. It's just trying to find a routine. That's literally what I would say to people. That's what we've been doing, just routine and just being consistent, really. So out and about, it's been challenging, but as I say, recently, we actually did a fireworks switch on. We thought, because of all the noise of the fireworks, he wouldn't like it. Complete change. He actually really enjoyed it, but we stuck far away instead of being in the depth of the crowd. So that helps as well. And trying to think where else we were saying we've been out and about. But yeah, it is challenging and it's not easy, but I do enjoy it. As I say, all parents go for their own sort of challenge and ways of how they do things, but we just have to adjust and adapt. And sometimes it's just going for a simple going, not, okay, I think one of us may have to do the shopping this week, or someone has to do this and someone else to do that. But recently, as I say, since it's changed settings, it's been a massive difference.
Yeah, well, I've got a friend who's got a little boy who's got autism, and she said the same about fireworks. But I was kind of dreading it, and he really enjoyed it. So fireworks causes surprises.
Yeah, causes surprise. But with Keegan, he likes music and sounds. I don't know where he gets that from, but so he's really into his music. So I think that probably helped with the music behind and just the sense of that. And there's also, it's visually as well. It's visually stimulating because of all the colours being up in the air as well. So I don't know why, but fireworks seem to have worked. But
it's just like him.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Sure. What's what's your working week like? I imagine being a DJ is lots of awkward times and evenings. What does that look like on a usual week, if there is a usual week?
Well, yeah, a usual week normally. So Tuesday I'm normally DJing, in like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes even Saturday afternoons I'm doing brunches and all that stuff. So it all depends. But yeah, my week is pretty intense, to be fair. So yeah, so Tuesdays I normally do 7-1. Thursdays I normally do 9 to 3:30. Fridays is quite local Friday, so that's about a 10-minute drive from where I am. I do 9 till 2, and then Saturdays I do 9 till 2, and then sometimes, depends on how busy I am, I could have a private or corporate stuff in the afternoon. So that's my average week. But as I say, it chops and changes, and as I say, sorry to mention the World Cup again. I know we went out. I did a fan zone there, and that was Saturday, Tuesday, whenever England was playing, basically. So that was quite interesting to do. But also, it's also about balancing time and doing that. So I'm quite grateful, to be fair, that I have an understanding lady.
Yeah, I've got 2 questions off the back of that. The first one is, when you get to DJ at these events, do you get to watch them, or are you in work mode?
Yes and no. So when I did the Commonwealth Games, I was sort of in work mode, but I was also watching at the same time because I got to learn, because I was based down in Leamington Spa, I did the Lawn Bowl, so I got to sort of learn how it all went. But yeah, you got your working head on. The same with the football. I'm playing 3 lines. I'm playing It's Coming Home. Well, it's the same song. I'm playing New Order. I'm playing Freed from Design, all that stuff. But as I say, during the match, I'm like, okay, we're going to get a goal. Are we there? Are we there yet? Because even when we went out on Saturday, I was like, how do we even play out to a crowd when they've lost? Because normally we do a big after party normally.
Yeah.
But it was we just left it silent. So we just slid on Avicii. I Could Be the One. That's just about it. I've never seen people turn around and face from when the final whistle out of venue so quickly. They're like, oh, okay, they're gone. Oh, okay.
But otherwise, I think you just play silence.
Yeah,
that's what most people wanted.
But it's just let the commentary team, when it was broadcasted on, just let them just play out, and everyone just walked out. So yeah, but other times when we've got through, it's been like an after party thing. So it's been quite nice, really.
So that's amazing. So my second question off the back of that is, do you find it challenging, either now or at the beginning, like being like all over the place quite a lot and your times being up and down? Has that been like a challenge whilst trying to be a parent as well?
Yes, it has been, because I get calls coming, oh, can you cover here? Can you cover there? And sometimes I just can't do it. But also, I've got to think about family time as well. And I think sometimes I do overwork myself, admittedly. I do, because I like to be like, I want to, obviously, as a male, as a guy, you want to go, obviously, you want to work for the best for your family. And sometimes I do overwork myself, and sometimes I get told, just relax it a bit, Shaun, just take your time. And then, but recently, Keegan's become a little roadie, so anytime I go out, he sort of drags my stuff out with me, so it's great. So I'm like, "Is my little roadie ready?" Like, yeah, and he'll drag my stuff and give me a kiss and then wave me off at the door and just shut the door and be like, "Oh, cheers." So I do quite like that, but then yeah, it has been hard, especially during this city season. So I've been non-stop since like we came out of lockdown, and just trying to just make valuable time with family. That's what I've tried to do in between it, because you can lose all sense of stuff working, and actually not forgetting what your main goal is, just to support your family.
I mean, we talk about it quite a lot on the podcast, just like that work-life balance. And I can imagine there's some seasons where it's nice to be away and be out of the house. But then there's others when it's just, you really just miss home and all that sort of stuff.
Especially when we've got my little one waving to me outside the window and I'm going in the car. I'm like, do I have to go to work tonight?
It's heartbreaking.
Like, yeah. But, it's great. But I just sort of go, I could be at home tonight. But then I do enjoy the night. And then I wake up in the morning, like at the minute I seem to be woke up with like, what's that cold kiss? Oh, I'm being woken up and being dragged out of bed. Like, I had it Saturday morning, like just sleeping, and like, what's this cold kiss? Oh, he wanted me to come downstairs for him just to chill with him for a bit. Like, as I say, it's non-verbal, but I was getting like a kiss. Like, okay, that's fine. We'll go downstairs. So I went downstairs for about 10 or 20 minutes, relaxing him, and then just went back to bed myself, and then let the missus do the rest of work. So yeah, should give her a clap, really, because she does have to put up with me. She does deserve a round of applause. Otherwise, I'll get killed for not mentioning it on the podcast. So yeah, but as I say, it's just working. I think is adjusted to my routine. As I say, anytime I put my work top on or anything, like I'm heading to work, he's like, "See ya, okay, goodbye."
Have you ever had any nights where you've got in at maybe like 3:30, 4 in the morning, and then he's not slept well and you've just had no sleep? Have you ever had those?
No, I'm grateful. I don't want to speak too soon, but he's been a great sleeper and he loves his sleep. So he normally sleeps between 7 and normally wakes up about 6:30. But if he's not feeling well, like the other day he wasn't feeling well, I sort of came in a bit too loud and like, great, I've woke him up. You can just hear a stamp going across, like, hope he settles down. But other than that, I seem to think that does really well with his sleep, even though stereotypically autism children shouldn't sleep well, but Keegan sleeps, he loves his sleep really well. So it's one of the luckier sides of things, but I do feel it for you too, because I've heard you guys have been up at 5, 6.
I was up, I think, 5 times last night.
Ooh, ouch.
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice for me. It's either, Shaun, that he's a good sleeper, or you are a very good
great
sleeper.
Ignorer.
That's it, yeah.
I say that, and then tonight now, when I put him to bed, well, he's already in bed already. He'll be like awake all night, but let's hope not. But no, he seems to be. Let's try it again. He seems to be well with his sleep. To be fair, he does really well with it. So I'm quite grateful for that side. It's just the only time I think we've affected when the clocks go back and forward, and time just affects them. I think every kid has that anyway.
Oh, that's one thing. Why do we still do that?
2022, mate. You got to adjust to the times. Literally.
Honestly, why can't we just still call it the same time?
What, you want to stick in GMT then all the time?
Honestly, I don't care what you call it, but it's a nightmare.
Well, it'll be BST, because it'll be British Summertime, won't it? Yeah. It'll be GMT. Longest day soon, so don't worry about it.
Well, that's such a good point. Why do we change it? So I know why. I know it's for the farmers and that, but
It's for the farmers.
That's what everyone says. Everyone says it's for the farmers. I don't know many farmers that are bothered about what time it says on the clock.
But I think it's for when they yield their cropping. I think it's a Scottish thing. I think because their sun, obviously, they're right on the edge of the UK, so they get the sunlight last or something like that. So it's all to do with sunlight and daylight. So I think I think during the BST times they get the sun nice and early, so they can go out to the field and do their crop. And then, don't quote me on this. Just before anyone wants to cancel me, yes, Twitter, I do see you. So literally. I think it's just to do with the farming and people of Scotland that they go.
I think it's all a rumor. I'd say it now. I think it's all fake news. There's nothing stopping farmers just going, "Oh, it's the summer now. Let's just get up at 7 instead of 6."
Would be a good idea though, and it would just for 1 year, just have the time, just for the sake of it.
Exactly. See how much it affects things. That's what I'd like to see.
Well, if you're just joining us, welcome to Agricultural Weekly with DJ Shaun Baxter. Oh, that's amazing. So, Shaun, like taking just a little step back to Keegan and his autism. Obviously, we're coming up to Christmas, and you've mentioned routine there. And Christmas has a lot of traditions. Are there any traditions that you guys have slipped into since becoming parents, or anything that you did when you were younger that you now do with your little boy and incorporated into his routine?
Well, Keegan doesn't like the whole Christmas thing is really overwhelming for him, having presents or stuff over, like literally, I'm not saying having presents, but literally having presents and everyone opening in the room and all the flashing lights is very overwhelming. So it's a tough time of year because it's just obviously, but what he normally sees in the lounge is not normal. Just random trees has appeared. It must be that time of year. It's got flashing lights on. But it's took him about a week. It took him about a week just to notice that the trees back in. So I'm like, it's only to today where he started taking all the baubles off. It's took you a week to notice. But yeah, Christmas is has been very different, to be fair. Like we've initiated this year that we're going to just give him a present at a time. So drag it over. I know, no, it's not tradition, but drag it over 3 or 4 days because it's just too hard for him to consume because he'll open one present and want to constantly play with that and get obsessed with it. So we've had to sort of do that. But then the food wise is just, as I say, we do pretty, like my tradition and looking at that tradition, we've sort of merged them two together. So we'll have Christmas Day here, and then we'll get a couple of family members round. Then the next day my mum will come round, and then from there, as I work Christmas Eve and Boxing Day, Joe's of being a DJ, so I'll come in and stumbling up ridiculous o'clock on that, and then try and have a quick nap before then. But yeah, Christmas is different. We've had to sort of adjust a routine and sort of adjust how we do things each year because sometimes it's just a bit too overwhelming. And I think for any kid, I think Christmas can be overwhelming. Like, who are you? I've not seen you before, and it's like your auntie who's not come around before. So
no, that's great. Shaun, you've been an amazing guest. Just one more question before we go. If anyone is kind of potentially struggling with maybe their kids, they think they've got kids got autism or something like, and because there's so much content at the moment on TikTok and on Instagram of all these things which could be one thing or another, where's the best place for someone to turn to if they want answers? Or
the first place I'll go is speak to the schools, see if they've got any SEN, so special needs, a special educational needs teacher in place, see if she or he or they can spot anything. My second point of call would be the doctors or the GP. And if you think that you need a test for an autism test, don't rely on the online results. Don't rely on Google. There's proper private places. It is big money, but it's well worth it. And I'll say just that's what I would do, really. And luckily, in my situation, we had the backing of the school, the SEN, the support educational needs support there, and also our GP and paediatrician and all and stuff. So they all sort of backed our case, and we had to write different notes. So I would follow in that route. But if you want it serious, if it's serious enough that you want to get tested and go privately, it is big money, but it's well worth it to go down that line. It's just to explore, subject to how your pennies are at the minute.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's, as I say, it's just it's just something we're hearing more and more about, because I think people are getting more and more used to hearing it. Back in the day, it'd be like, "Oh, you're a naughty child. Go sit at the back of the classroom." But that really challenged it in my time.
Yeah.
And I probably need to go to my family history and look at myself, thinking, have I got traits? Do I need to give myself a test? Maybe that be something I could do in the future. But for anybody else, that's those lines I'd recommend.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Oh, amazing. Shaun, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed talking to you and hearing about your journey with Keegan. We always ask our guests for one little nugget of wisdom or one bit of parenting advice to leave us with before they go.
Mine would be routine. It may be horrible to start with, but once you get into the flow of routine, it's a godsend.
Amazing.
Shaun, where can people find you online? Where can people follow you? Where can any business owners get a corporate gig with yourself?
So it's DJ Baxter. That's DJ Baxter spelled like the soup. For Twitter at DJ Baxter, and just basically search that. You'll see it all that way. I don't want to go through all the different social media pages, but if you click on my Instagram at DJ Baxter, there's a link tree with all the lovely stuff there, so you can follow me on the designed networks what you use.
That is
DJ
amazing.
Baxter.
Thank you, lads. It's been a pleasure to be on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Shaun. Amazing guest.
Keep up the good work.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Nice one.
So that was Shaun, DJ Baxter. Thank you again for in the mix. That was that was Shaun and Jason's Udi.
Oh yes, if you're watching on the on the video, I'm unashamedly, I must add, I'm wearing a very comfortable. It's not a proper Udi, it's a fake Udi. Didn't shed out the pounds for the Udi. But honestly, I don't think I'm ever taking this thing off again.
I'm jealous. It looks amazing.
It's so comfortable, especially in my garage where it's really cold. That's where I'm recording this.
My garage is freezing also, and I do not have.
What I've got to say is, man, I think that was a really good interview, like really insightful. But I just love the way, like I don't think we said it, like how joyous he was. Like we talk about parents struggling quite a lot, and no doubt they've seen their fair share, but he just seemed to carry it so well, and didn't seem to let that get him down on his mood, especially even coming across in the podcast, sure, but just loved the way that he came across. And
yeah, it's really nice to hear people talk about like some serious, challenging and personal topics, but with a smile on their face.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. So big thank you to Shaun for sharing some thoughts with us. I love that he said Baxter like the soup.
But honestly, I don't know if I've seen Baxter soup.
Whatever.
No, I'm sure. I don't know. Maybe is it a popular thing? Is it famous?
Baxter's cup of soup, isn't it?
Honestly, I don't know. Anyway, that is this week's episode. We will see you again next week. And don't forget, over Christmas, we have a few bonus episodes, so please do look out for that. But other than that, have a great week, and you'll hear us in your ears next Friday.